The Left Wing Backs coverage of the Carlow Hurling Championships for 2023 is brought to you in association with Talbot Fitness, Brendan Cabinet Furniture, Corcoran Precast Tanks, Milano's Takeaway Bagnestown, Connolly's Topline Hardware, PFT Travel, Ray Whelan Limited, Earth Spas and the Arboretum Loughlin Bridge. Now we join the Kildavin-Clonegal World Tour, and sure, who else to lead it and no better man, only Podge Ryan. Podge, do you want to tell us where in the world you are?
We're still in the parish anyway for the start.
Oh, controversial. Controversial.
We're in Jimmy Kelly's at the White Mills there now, so Jimmy opened up there about 11 o'clock this morning, so we're not going thirsty anyway. So that's the main. I'm
not gone hungry, sure. There's a chip fan or something there beside that, isn't there?
No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah, so you got the breakfast and the whole lot there. Might even a liquid breakfast, was it?
We got the whole works, Kev. Got the whole works.
The real job. Tell me, did you stop? Did you stop at all at any stage between, we'll say, 4 or half 4 yesterday and, well, you haven't stopped now, obviously, but have you stopped at any time for a bit of a sleep or a break or anything, Podge?
Oh, yeah, no, Jez. No, we were in Kildavin yesterday at about 6 or half 6. We have a homecoming there in the clubhouse, and we, all the youngsters were there, and sure, look, it's great for them to see. Everyone see a trophy back in the club. Like I said, like 20 years is, it's wild in a way when you think like it's that long. Like, but look, we have a trophy back now, and we went to the club yesterday, and all the youngsters were there, and that was grand. And went over to Clonegal and walked across the bridge in Clonegal and walked up through Clonegal and went to Dunn's last night, and cheers, we rocked it out, like, By God, did we rock it out?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you're after hitting on a couple of very good things there. There's one common thing. I believe there's a great pint of stout inside in Jimmy Kelly's, but I also believe there's a good one in Dunn's. So,
well, you'll be talking to Paul Kelly now.
Pint connoisseur, the real Guinness guru.
Paul, he tastes the odd pint of porter every once in a while, but Jimmy Kelly's, lads, I tell you, Jimmy Kelly's, Johnny Dunn's, 2 places in the parish. My God, pint of porter, unbelievable.
That's what you want. That's what you want, lad. And come here, in relation to yesterday, what was it like going into the clubhouse and seeing all the youngsters there? And I suppose having to, like I saw you all signing autographs and all during the year, but also yesterday, the crowd on the field, all that is just so special, lad.
Kevin, magic. Just, like, we had the pictures now with the cup and all, with the team and all in the clubhouse, and you're walking in the clubhouse and like there's a crowd there, like you see the cars outside the fucking gate and all, and it's kind of hard to believe really, like, and then you walk in and the crowd is there, and just it's hard to put into words really, because like I said, 20 years, it's like John Ryan, the manager, was saying there, like, we're starving for success, and we are. Of course we are, but Jesus, like, to win this now is huge, like, and like even yesterday, the under 13 hurlers in Kildavin, like the Bedmore Rangers down the park, and like that's the next group coming on, like, it's just class, like, like we were all down there yesterday before the final, and seeing them play like that, Jesus, like you're thinking like, Jesus, what's, it's all great, like, it's rosy,
Yeah, and
of course you can't rest on your laurels, of course, but like, Jesus, like if them are under 13, under 15, whatever, like they're coming on, it's good vibes, like,
Well, look at the progress you've made, like even all that in the space of a year is fair going, and obviously the challenge is to keep it going and all that. Yeah. But like, say even a simple thing like, you all being down there yesterday at the under 13s game, and then a few hours later they're in looking at G and what that does. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sure, huge. Like, like even before the game, like Dennis Finn and Gillian Murphy, the the trainer for their 13s, like they call us over and said, Jez, would you and Ian St. Ledger, who joint captain for the junior, would you come over and say a few words? I'm like, look, a few words are only, that's minimal things, like, you're talking about just saying, like, saying the usual, like, you're just saying, like, pick the ball up and do the right things, but like, when they see you saying that and you're in the final then later on, a couple hours later, like, geez, it boosts them, like, of course, it's great. Look, Kevin, it's great for the club. It's obvious, like,
And I know, like, from your point of view, we had a chat with you there obviously last week, right? But there was a whole week to fill there, and all you're thinking about was this game. So how did you cope with it? Because it obviously didn't get to you. You were flawless on the frees. I think you finished with 10 in total. A nice one at the end from play to cap it all off. But how did that work out for you?
Look, I wouldn't mind that. Like, as John said on to Brendan Hennessy for the KCLR, anyone can take a free, like, and it's the lads who win the frees, they're the men, like, I wouldn't mind the frees, but like, even during the week and everything, like, we poked around Saturday there down the pitch and it was all good. And I just said to a couple of lads there at the Joe Roberts, and I said to Ian St. Ledger, I said to Ricky Byrne, I said, are you nervous? No nerves. Zero nerves. Like, it was just, it was like after winning the semi-final, there was no pressure. The pressure was off. And the nerves were gone, like, it was just, even yesterday, we were fucking, we were in the dressing room and we were messing with lads' gear bags and lads' helmets, and if we were going out for a puck around instead of a county final, like, it was just, at the end of the day, look, the semi-final was our game and the pressure was on. We're facing the half favourites, like, Bet-Burn Rangers, and then we come into a county final and it's just like, look, lads, go hold for an hour and see what happens. And that was it, like,
Yeah, absolutely, plain and simple. No, look, John's a serious operator. Was it 2 years ago he won what I get?
Yeah, he was a goalkeeping coach at Ilgate there 2 years ago. They got to the Leinster final, and Ilgate now, look,
they're in the senior final next weekend.
In the senior final, like, for next weekend, and like John, my father, all the Ryans, they're Glenbrine men. Like, they were born rare in Glenbrine and they moved up to 11 and 82 or 83, and like, for Ilgate to be in a final, you'd have a graph for Ilgate too, like, they haven't been in a final in Wexford since '63, and that was their only senior final. So they're in the final 6 years after they won it. So look, it's a good omen, and look, they have every chance, like, and like, for my father and John and Michal and Jim and Charlie, all the Ryans, like, it's great because look, we're after winning something here in Kildavin, and there's a potential to win something in Ilgate too. And look, by Jez, if they win, we won't see the Ryans for about 2 weeks.
Must be a lot of annual leave in the bank there. So,
yes.
Yeah,
heavy on the bank holidays.
Yeah. Well, sure, look, it's mighty stuff. I mean, the game itself, you couldn't ask for better, I suppose. You responded so well to losing Richie as well, which was a bit of a setback, obviously. Bit of steadiness in there, but like you mentioned, the bit of depth and Ricky coming in and the changes you made. Like, one player for me yesterday that can't go without mentioning is Niall Hickey, and how, like, he was picking everywhere.
You're talking about hurlers, like, rolled right. Jesus Christ, like the man's a county footballer, wing back county footballer. The man was just gliding across the pitch. You're looking at him thinking, like, are you actually running? Are you sweating? Like, he just does things at his leisure. And Jesus, like, McGill the same, and Barry Hickey, and lads, like, I don't know, like, just to hurl with these lads is, it's a pleasure, like, it is a pleasure, like,
Yeah, no, to make it look
and like Kevin, at the end of the day as well, like, I got a lot of texts off lads in Ballinkillen and Fenna, and we were there for 15 years in that club, and they gave us every support yesterday, as much as when we were hurling with them, like, but like, we can't forget them either. Like, they gave us a club to hurl with when we didn't have a club, and like, Tommy Dowling there at the top of the tunnel there yesterday, and John Down texting, or John Phelan texting, and they're the lads as well who are pushing our Ballinkillen, but they'd love to see us do well as well after we left them. But we didn't leave them on a bad note, but they know as well that hurlers there in Clavin push it on now. They'd love to see nothing more than us push on,
Yeah, they're men who see the bigger picture, and they got the whole thing,
Yeah. And Joey Nolan as well, Andrew Nolan there, Pascal there, Mountain.
There's lads beeping horns and Podge is getting distracted. I'm not laughing at the fact that you mentioned Joe, just for anyone that's only listening to it and not looking at it. There's lads passing you there, and that's why I'm laughing, and you're beeping. Well, how you getting on? What's the story?
We're gone live, lads.
Aye, congratulations. Is there enjoying the celebrations, yeah?
Yeah, well, one night done and another one to start.
Yeah. I'd say you've a bit of catching up to do there, have you?
No, well, we went home late. The boys went home early.
Yeah. Super stuff. We're just saying, the crowd that was in there, everything about it, going back to the clubhouse there, the kids, signing autographs, all that stuff is just magical, isn't it?
I was mad. They couldn't get us off the field, so it was brilliant. We weren't going anywhere. We don't care if we get HIPAA fines because we haven't been there so long. We don't mind,
Little lad in the yellow vest there, he was ticking boxes.
Never mind the fines.
Yeah, I think. I don't think
Marty. We were ruining the show.
Not at all.
On the road was rushing his ass, I guess.
So make sure yourself though.
They're the makings of it. Yeah. Ah, that's brilliant. Is Ledger around? Actually, do you know what? If you want to turn the camera,
Ledger's in. Doesn't see that wall, but he won't come out. I said, "Are you going to come out?" No, you talk.
Jesus. Yeah.
I suppose, hard to believe.
Daniel do enough talking for the two of them anyway, wouldn't
he? Yeah, are you or Joey or Babs coming down or what? Sorry.
We won't rule it out. We will not rule it out.
We'll say less.
Yeah. TBC, stick a pin in now. Yeah. The arm is twisting under the desk. You can't see it in the camera now, but she's starting to twist.
Yes, more than welcome, lad. More than welcome.
No. Well, listen, Podge, I suppose I better let you get back to it there. We could talk. There's so much to talk about. But all I can say is congratulations. I am delighted. For me, as I said to you last week, that was the real story of Cara hurling this week, and that's no disrespect to any of the other clubs. It's just fantastic, and I hope you go up and build on her. That's the job. Great to see it. And a perfect way to finish up as well. Enjoy the celebrations, lad. All right. Thank you.
Lad, look, at the end of the day, we always said, after winning the semi-final, we said, look, we want to go to Leinster as champions. And thanks be to God, we have. And look, whatever happened in Leinster, that's November. That's 2-3 months away, We'll go there and we'll hurl and we'll do our best. And look, to be back up intermediate is massive for the club and massive for the county and just everything, And whoever with the lads hurling, the four boys there in the line, Andy Nolan, Andrew Pascal Nolan, Pat Ryan, John Ryan, they're the men. They're the men that drove us on since March, and it's magic. Even coming in here, Jimmy Kelly's there this morning, and getting a large bottle, and you're just looking around and just thinking, Jesus, this is
that's
great.
The dream, lads.
It's Monday club, it's great. It's like I said, the family is over, and thanks for the God,
Good stuff. Podge, enjoy it, lad. Pleasure as always.
All right.
So,
love you, lad. Good luck.
And now we're joined by the man of the moment, Mr. Frank Foley, selector turned goalkeeper. And Frank, firstly, I just want to say congratulations. You must be delighted.
Yeah. We're over the moon. Because, listen, we weren't going well all year. And people were kind of getting in and having their say on it. But there's good hurlers there. All you just need to do is click on the day. And we've kind of showed patches. We didn't show enough all year. We were showing patches for 30 minutes and getting kind of over games. But it was just a worry that could we do it for 60 minutes, and against them ones you need to do it for 60 minutes. And yesterday from the start, it just clicked, and everyone clicked. It just wasn't 2 or 3 players. It was nearly everyone had a big influence on it, and that's the most enjoyable thing about it, that it went well for everybody. The 2 changes that happened probably wouldn't have happened only for early on with the 2 injuries, but like up until that, it was nearly hard to take off anyone because they were all going so well. Like, and Donna was probably the legs went, so they did from hard work. Like, and that's the delightful part about it for us.
Yeah, I know. Look, it was super stuff, plain and simple. I'm happy to be in the minority that actually tipped you during the week, Frank. 2-1 outsiders, I couldn't get my head around, but I did.
Sinead was listening to it. I don't. The kind of weeks of county finals or any of that, I'd never stick to the media or anything, but I just kind of back it all out. And Sinead was listening to it here last morning. I come up and Trent said, "Oh, the boys think she'll pull the rug out underneath their feet." She said, "So, yeah, sir. It's just you have to turn up on county final day, and it's like." We done the same Mullins on. That's why I kept saying yesterday, they were always like this, tipping along, getting to a semi-final, scraping over, getting to a final then and producing a big performance. And that's what you need to do in a final, produce a big performance. And you do that, you have a chance, a big chance.
Yeah, I figured, I was actually saying it there, this always happens to me. I'm in the car, next thing I think of a stat, right? And sure, you don't get to write it down then. So I don't have the exact number of times that you've met since 06. But I figured that about 75 to 80% of the time, the bookies outsider has actually won, which is crazy. You know, it's just one of those things.
It's the favourites tag. I don't know whether it suits that teams or gives that bit of an edge. Like this is probably the first time in a good while that we weren't favourites to win a county final. Like, so it is that we were in, and it's. I don't know. It's something that I never looked at. Like the boys be always saying, the bookies have you at this, but I'd never look at the likes of that. Especially coming up to a week, because you get there, you have a chance, and when you're in a final, you have a chance of winning. Whereas if you're not in it, you can't.
Exactly that. But there's so much organisation that goes into it. I mean, obviously, from your point of view, you ended up double jobbing, right? But I only learned last year how much goes into being involved in the background team, and it's for me anyway. I felt it was a 40-hour job. I thought it was cruel the amount of work that goes into it, and the stress that comes with it at times. You're tossing and turning at night time. Now maybe that's just me, but how did you kind of find that side of it?
No, the same. Kind of last year was probably a bad year starting off for me, because like we were hot favourites and everyone was blowing us up against Bangstown, and Bangstown bet us fair and square. Like, let's can say what they like. The Rangers were bad, and that's not the way it works. You have to turn up. You can't take any team for granted. You produce a form, and we were bet by a better team, and more hungrier team than Bangstown last year. And that was started off, and then like you were going back at this year, Jesus, is this for me? And things go around in your head. Whereas if you're playing, you're just worried about your own position. Whereas when you're a selector, you have to worry about everyone's position. That's the other thing, and hopefully think you got it right. And just we made big mistakes last week or last year. We understand that, like, but we're human. Like, this is a learning curve for me. It's a learning curve for Eddie. Like, we just come out with players, and it's easy. Probably I'm involved under 16s, involved under 13s, and it's kind of grand for them because you're looking in and it's not mad. You lose, but just a lot more pressure when it comes to the adult age group, because you're after producing as a player and everyone thinks, oh, this lad be great and that. But as you say, it's nearly a full-time job. Like Paul O'Brien, for me, I've been involved with good managers, Tommy Mullally and them, but like Paul O'Brien, the work he puts in outside of training alone is like, he could ring you 5 or 6 times a day, like, about different things, trying to come into his head. Like, it's probably his job too. Like, he's head of sports in DCU in Dublin, like, but he is to the point. Like, he'd have everything laid out that's going, and this is the time it happens. This is what we do. Every training session is laid out so that when we go to training, this is the time you have, and it's divided up. Like, it's divided up between me, Eddie, and Finton. Like, so, it's better for the boys too, compared to you have only the one lad telling you everything. You get sick after a while saying, "Geez, that lad's voice again." Whereas if you break it up into 3 or 4 groups and each take a section of 15 minutes, it kind of works better.
Yeah, active selectors, I think, is the term on that, or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is,
yeah. Can I ask, did you find whenever you ended up back in the goal that you became, did the stress reduce, or did it double because you were double jobbing? Or did it take a bit of pressure off you playing? Or
it kind of did. Yeah, it kind of took a bit of pressure off, because it left more for Eddie and Paul and them to do, because I like on the sideline, you're looking and saying, "Geez, I wouldn't do that," or you would. Whereas when you're playing, you can kind of control some things. Like, it's looking in, you'd be looking in and just lad miss a ball, and jeez, you'd be like, it's kind of, I think it's more stressful. I enjoy playing more than anything, and I probably won't ever go into managers. It's grand to be with your own club, so it is, but like, there's big pressure, and when you're not performing or not getting results, then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, and after last year's disappointment, like, and it was a big disappointment for us, but life goes on. Like, all we could do, we came back, we just walked away ahead, so we did, and there's nothing else you can do. Like, sure, past is the past. We could all love to change the past, but we can't. Like.
Yeah, Oscar, I know. And then I suppose in terms of the game then yesterday, for me anyway, in the early stages, I thought, you kind of went about hammering the hammer, and you get John Nolan onto James Doyle, and I thought you won that battle. I thought it was a crucial thing. Your puckouts were fantastic as well. And also, I suppose, the lads, whether by design or by default, coming out into the middle third to leave the space in behind. I'd left St. Mullins in a bit of a catch-22 because, you don't follow them out, then there's guys that can shoot from range if they do happen to go onto the ball or whatever. And then by following them out, if you don't win that battle, you're leaving the space. And by God, did you make use of it, like.
Oh, you have to. That was our plan. The plan was, like, and be fair to Mouse and these lads, like, James Doyle has probably been the standout player for St. Mullins this year. Like, and we knew we had to curtail him. Like, I think again, Ballinkillen, boy said he got ball from the throw in, had a point over the bar within 20 seconds. Like, so James Doyle can do that. Like, it's not Mouse and these players up front, but we knew if we could stop the ball from James Doyle going into their forwards, and we could get the boys on ball and get it into our forwards, we knew we get rewards from that, because to be fair to the boys inside, they're all fit young fellas, like, and Chris Nolan, like, is on his day, like, is probably one of the best hurlers you'll get around the place, like, on his day. Like, and we need everyone. Like, you talk about team, that's why they call it the team. Like, if you want to play, I always say that would be over with Trent Young, as I said, you want to play golf, I said, or you want to be an individual, go over to the golf course there and Morris. Like, it's only across the road from us, but a team has to be everyone involved, like, and that was the plan was to put out, because, like, Jack Kavanagh likes to sit back, so he does. So you have to go short. You can't land ball down on top of St. Mullins like that, because they'll win it. Like, they're good. They're good in the air and they're strong. So they are. So we had to stop. We had to get the ball in over their sweeper, but we had to stop James Doyle too from getting ball into the boys inside, and that worked well for us yesterday. Another day that might go wrong, but to be fair, yesterday it worked.
Yeah. Could I flip that then? If that happened the other way around to you, what instruction do you think you'd be given? Would you say go and try and make that battleground while leaving the space in front of Frank Foley in his full back line? Or would you try have someone sit back? Like, what way would it work if it was the other way around now?
Well, sure, it's kind of hard to answer that, but I don't think we would leave the space inside, because, to be fair, Paddy Boland is fast. So he is. Jason O'Neill is fast. Conor Keogh is fast. They had the speed, like, to get, like, and as bad as Dermot, like, they don't call him Sledge for nothing, like, so that space in the back, you wouldn't like it, because if it got a yard on him, like, Dermot could. I know. Yeah. See him running, and the hurl would be up like this. You'd be saying, "Oh, geez, what's he going to do?" But like, he and since he went back full back, like, he's been solid. Like, lads, and Kevin Mack went back centre back. Like, they were. It worked out for us. Like, it didn't happen by chance, because Michael Joyce got injured, and kind of, like, we were stuck, and that's the way things kind of fell into place for us. So I don't think he'd leave that space inside for St. Mullins, because they'll take that space like what we do, and they'll give you awful trouble. Yeah,
so you'd be looking at sitting one back, like, trying to engineer one. Yeah. Because obviously you can't see all three, because you just have too many bodies loose around the middle. Because I was thinking of that, like, and I suppose, it was such an important facet of yesterday's game. But you've also touched on something that I was going to bring up, and that was, putting Diarmaid Byrne back to 3. And I think we said it a few weeks ago on the pod that might be. I felt that might be the catalyst that changes everything for you this year. And again, like, I don't mean that with any great deal of disrespect to Michael Joyce, who's a fine hurler. Like, he needs a little bit more experience, like, and that'll come with time. Diarmaid's been around a little bit longer. He goes back there. It doesn't weaken you by putting Kevin Mack to 6. I mean, Kevin Mack, in my opinion, anyway, up to yesterday, and possibly still could be hurler of the year. I just think he's been phenomenal for you, Frank.
Yeah, savage. Yeah, Kevin Mack is a serious operator. Serious. Even the Joe McFine, like, the ball he delivers into forwards, like, he's crucial on our team, because it's not this big high lobbing ball. Like, it's a ball that bounces right, like balls he let in yesterday bounced in front of Chris, like one touch into the hand or on the hurl, like he's savage. So he is. Like, and Dermot is strong. Dermot is strong, and when he's there full back, like he's a big presence, like, and we never felt like we kind of stopgapped it for a couple of years. We had David Phelan who done a job, like. Since Gary Dye left, we probably hadn't had a proper full back, like, so it's kind of a thing that we knew we were probably going to have to end up having, because to be fair, we brought on Jamie Nolan, Michael Joyce, Sean Joyce, we brought on these younger lads this year like Tim Brennan, like they have to see time, like, and there's no point that, as I keep saying, there's no point putting them in the semi-final and I say, oh jeez, sure, Tim was bad today, or such a lad, he didn't have a good game. It's in the league games to give them a bit of confidence, and again next year they'll be better players because they're after getting a year to show what they can do, and it's up to them then to push on. So it is, that's because the future of the club is the youth.
Yeah, I agree with you. You have to give them time, and like the structure does lend itself to that as well, because likelihood is, unless something catastrophic happens, you are going to be in a semi-final. So you have the opportunity 100%. To put them in, let them learn, and as you say, in the couple of years, like you can see it in Donald Murphy, you can see it in Kieran Kavanagh, the benefits that they've had by playing, over the past couple of years. You mentioned, or we were talking about the fullback and centre back situation. There was any amount of options that you have at 6. Now, Kevin McDonald is incredible back there, right? But what I'm saying is, you haven't as many options at 3 as you do at 6. So it was a great move to put him back, Dermot back to fullback, and to sacrifice his game effectively too by doing that for the betterment of the team. And also you see a few natural centre backs getting hurt in the space of 6 minutes. Like poor Gary Lauder looked in a bad way. Tony comes in 6 minutes literally, I think is what it was, and he's gone back out. And then Evan Keeley comes in, probably has played very little time at wing back, at any grade, I would say, and didn't look out of place. No,
Kevin's a clever hurler. Or not Kevin, Evan, very, very, very clever hurler. We had, when I was with Carl on the 20s, we had Evan, and he was killed with a hamstring injury as well. I think we played Steve Rowan the last Kilkenny League game, and we had him centre back, and he was flying as though he was, and just got this ball one time and he said probably took a step too far. Next thing, hamstring gone, out for 8 weeks. Came back, first game back was again Nate Breed, and it wasn't really a test for us, no disrespect to Nate Breed, but it was kind of, and we were trying to get him back in games, weeks, the way the championship is now, games are ticking fast, it's week on week, and it's hard to keep changing things like that. At least if you had a space week, you could go off and get a challenge game. So it was hard that way, but the other thing was taking Kevin Mack out. Kevin Mack was going up and he was getting 3 and 4 points from play, up along the wing, and that we were risking losing that as well. So Kevin Mack is probably going to be a good centre back. So he is, but out of the people we had, he was the best option to put in there because he reads the game so well. He sweeps across. He's just very, very good at that. So he is.
Yeah. I think putting Feathers on the edge of the square was another big thing, because I'd say by his own admission, it wasn't his greatest ever season, right? But by putting him in on the edge of it, the threat that he causes is there, and the ball now to Feathers has to be down his throat. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has to be dead straight down the throat, because it's just not a situation where you can get left and right anymore, in my opinion. You're asking to do a little bit too much, but by God, when that goes in and it's the right ball, there's panic stations.
Oh yeah, he's stand beside him, and it's only you look out how many times out people. It's he's a queer big man, and even I think it was again near Breed, he caught one going over. I think he struck it off the goalkeeper that day. He caught a fierce high in there, but that's Eddie needs to be doing that, jumping up, because the height of him as he is standing up is hard to get at him. But if he's jumping full flight in the air, it's quite hard to get a ball off the person is at that height in the air and that physical. But it's just yesterday was a team thing, and it clicked. And it's not just anyone like John Nolan, just around the field, everywhere around the field. Donna got 3 points in play, Kieran Kavanagh 3 points in play. When your forwards are clicking like that and getting scores and keeping the scoreboard, that's what it was at half time, to keep the scoreboard ticking. So it was, because no matter every score you got, they had to get 2. So it was just that was the emphasis that we kept putting on it just at half time.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, Frank, and I say this with the best will in the world and respect in not taking anything away, but on county final day, things have to go right, as well as, you make your own luck. That's fair, but you also need it regardless of how it happens, right? And just a couple of quick things, when Dean Tobin's going through on goal, I'm saying give the ball. Jesus, give it. He gets hooked, get the second bite. That's a little bit of luck you need, right? Jack Kavanagh went up, I think it was for the third goal it was. Yeah, Jack Kavanagh went up from that initial play, right? Broke the ball down, straight into Fiacre Fitzpatrick's path. Another day, that's Paddy coming out with the ball. It ends up with a goal chance. It's saved from Chris, comes back out, and Fiacre finishes it off, right? Chris goes through on goal. Kevin Keogh gets something onto it, doesn't keep it out. Like, I'm not saying in any way whatsoever that you got lucky, but those little things have to go your way in addition to everything else going right too, don't they? Like,
oh God, 100%. You have luck, you have nothing, and that's it. It's like the break of a ball, fall your way or fall the opposite way. Oh, luck has a fierce. It does, but you make your own luck too. If you're making these runs, or you're kind of like and Fiacre played like Fiacre was middle of the field. Like if he stayed middle of the field, like he's not getting onto that ball. Like, so you have to take the chances with these runs.
Gamble on it, yeah.
Yeah, you have to gamble. Yeah, Finton, one of the coaches, one of the selectors, he said that it's a gamble. It's the runs that nobody see. Like, and the lads get plaudits for putting the ball over the bar, scoring, but it's the work that goes on before that. Like, I think Fiacre got a ball in the middle of the field there one time, like, and he got broke into space, and Paul O'Brien was out the side and was there in the game, and he thought he'd tap it over the ball. Next thing, just a audacious ball over to Eddie Byrne. Like, that was the intent. It was and straight drilled to his hand. Like, it's like yesterday. It's just. Another day, the lad popped that over the bar, but like whatever was going into the forwards yesterday was like, just there was an intent there. We have to kill this game, and we have to put when the juggler's on, we have to go for it. Like another day, that ball would have been tapped over the bar, and it's a different ball game. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And getting back, I suppose to close guys out to get the second body across if there was a goal chance. Like, and I view Mark down here for 4 saves. One of them was a double save just before half time, which is at a very important time. It literally could have been the changing of it, like, because you went in 8 up, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's gone back to 5 after being dominant. All of a sudden, it's a kick in the hole, right? And then 41 minutes, one from James Doyle, another one 5 minutes later. So, Jesus, you must be delighted with that too. I mean, you'd rather not have to make the saves, but whenever you do make it,
Yeah, like, because there was a lot for me. Like, there was a lot right now because I'm 45 years of age, like heading to 46, like. And the way things would change, I just said to Sinead this morning, like, if this hadn't worked out yesterday and 2 or 3 goals went in, you made a couple of mistakes. So what did that lad come back for? Like taking Dean Green's spot, or waiting to put young lad in it. Like this when it wins is great. Like, but it could have worked the other way. And like that was in the back of my mind. Like it was big pressure on me. Like and. If I weren't the selector, I probably wouldn't have went back. There would be no chance I would have been in that goal. It was just that I was part of it, like, and the boys were probably happy, and the players were happy enough, and the selectors were happy enough to put me back in it, like. So there was pressure from my side, like that. Like, and then you were reading Sinead's telling me these jokes going up on me, social media, like that. That's not me. Like I kind of stay away from all that crack. I don't go in for much interviews, but it's just. It gets into your head, and geez, if this backfires, like this lad look like really, like what's he doing coming back? But it paid off. But like, I have a hurl in my hand. I'd say probably more than the senior players. Like I'm gone every night. Chanel Day, I'm gone every night a week. Like between coaching carols and coaching under the 13s and with the seniors. Like it's you said, it's a full-time job. Like, but it's only because of her. She's backing me. Like, because you know yourself when you're married and you're going after your kids at home, and like it's hard to just you leave the door here several evenings at 6 o'clock. Like, you're not back till after 10 o'clock. Like, and it's tough. That's that side of it. I have the handy side. I'm going off, like, and doing something that I like. But the can stops back with her. She's running the whole show here, like. So it takes that, and for the likes of them, I'm delighted for the likes of their partners, and even for Eddie, like another lad is given mountains of work, like, to this club, like, and he's as good as you'd ever get, like, and his heart is in the best of the place, by so it is, and delighted for the likes of them, Paul, Finton, even Fergal, like, it's like we got stick in our own club, like, and for things that we've done, like, but sure, if you don't take chances, sure, you're doing the exact same thing, and nothing ventured, nothing gained, like. So we've tried things, and they've paid off, but there's very thin margins between winning and losing, like, and it went right yesterday, like, but when it don't go right, you're the worst in the world, right, as well, like. So we're just delighted for everyone involved.
Yeah, and look, a nice enough way to be finishing up. But I must say one thing. You mentioned the 13s. You were down in Kildavin, I think, yesterday morning, were you?
Yeah,
Yeah. And look, I know you're a man of the bigger picture, and your own boys will be disappointed, obviously, with how the junior final went. But what they've done in a year can't go without comment.
Yeah. Oh, listen, and I've said it's probably back along. We would have played blitzes now at this age group, that under 11s, and there's, I don't know, I think this is a Dennis Finn. He's with him down there in the under 13s. I don't know the woman's name. She encourages. She's fierce, and always was, even at under 11. She was fierce, a fierce good woman, and involved with the young lads. Like, we went down there yesterday, and they're trying to get it back, and it's hard. It's hard in a football kind of a club, compared to us. We're the same we're kind of more hurling, and football comes back in. But I think the way the split season is done, it suits the dual club, and it's for Kildavin to stay ahead now, come up to the intermediate and push on, because you need it. And you're very good for York. You need the likes of Tullow. You need more. Going back to Cara this year, 15, 16 hurlers, and then we were struggling with the class, so for Cara to succeed, or to get better, we need more clubs, and you need the Kildavin, so you do. You need all them to start, and they're doing very good. These young lads now coming back up, so they are. Even Bourne Rangers doing savage work there. All these clubs need to be brought on. It's not about keeping them down. It's to encourage them to keep up. I only seen, I think it was the first 20 minutes and probably 10 minutes, 5 minutes of the second half. So Kildavin, they're not bad. So they're fit. There's a number 8 in the middle of the field there is physical man.
Brilliant.
Yeah, a savage game. So the need to promote them more, and the county board and every game behind them, and try and do whatever they can for them to get them up contesting that intermediate, and hopefully to make that push for senior, because at the underage they need something to look up to, and that'll be savage for the likes of even them under 13s yesterday. There was a good, I was there yesterday morning in Kildavin, and there was a good lot of them. I'd say they look to be them junior players. I wouldn't know that many of them, but seemed to be a good lot of them there at that yesterday morning. So the young lads would love that. That's what young lads, it's like my own young lad, or I am. They love the likes of the Chris Nolan and them, and look up to them. That's what will keep them playing hurling.
Yeah, savage stuff. You've hit the nail on the head. Listen, man, congratulations. It's a great story, and we should let you go and celebrate. So thanks a million for taking the time away from that. All right, thank you, and well done again.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
The Left Wing Backs coverage of the Carlow Hurling Championships for 2023 is brought to you in association with Talbot Fitness, Brendan Kavanagh Furniture, Corcoran Precast Tanks, Milano's Takeaway Bidnestown, Connolly's Top Line Hardware, PFT Travel, Ray Whelan Limited, Earth Spas, and the Arboretum Loughlin Bridge.